Hey guys, welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today is Planet Kristian Harloff.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Collider Movie Talk. A lot of great topics, really fun panel here. Excited to get going.
Also here, John Schnepp.
Harloff Minor. We are approaching Harloff Minor.
Also here.
Tractor beam in full effect.
Just party on Harloff Minor. That's what we want to do. It's like it's a place of, it's like Vegas.
It's like a spring break destination.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Mark Ellis. I'm
There you
also
go.
here. And a huge congratulations to my good buddy, Kristian George Harloff, who is now officially part of Star Wars canon.
That's right.
Harloff Minor is a planet in a novel, and now we might see it in Episode 8. Is that correct?
I don't know if we'll see it in Episode 8, but all I know is it's about 12 a.m.
Don't be humble now.
I don't
You're
be
running
humble.
out the
Don't
office
be
this
humble.
morning like
I
you're
was
a
reading
badass.
it. I'm reading it, and I'm just like, wait. I had to go back and read it like 4 or 5 different times. The
Yeah.
fact- it's cool.
It's
I mean, yeah.
mentioned-
My brother was going bananas though too. I told my daughter about it this morning. It was pretty
Aw.
good.
Well, look, it's a huge thing, and on behalf of everybody who's already Star Wars canon, welcome to Concha Club, my friend.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Will Conja Club be on Harloff Minor? That's the question.
There should be a division of Conja Club based on Harloff
Guys,
Minor.
Concha Club is a chain. It's like a Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville. They're everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
All right, what's going on? What's up first? What are we talking about?
When the first trailer for Marvel's Doctor Strange debuted, most fans were happy and excited to see the Sorcerer Supreme finally realized on screen. Through the cheers and praise, however, came an uproar over Tilda Swinton's casting as the Ancient One, which some have labeled as whitewashing. In a statement sent to Mashable, a Marvel Studios spokesperson defended the casting, saying, "Marvel has a very strong record of diversity in its casting of films and regularly departs from stereotypes and source material to bring its MCU to life. The Ancient One is a title that is not exclusively held by any one character, but rather a moniker passed down through time, and in this particular film, the embodiment is Celtic. We are very proud to have the enormously talented Tilda Swinton portray this unique and complex character alongside our richly diverse cast." Kristian, thoughts on Marvel defending the casting of Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One?
I mean, look, I appreciate that they're defending their choice, and however they are going to do it, they're doing it carefully, how they're defending it. I think they kind of pulled that out. Well, it's just kind of a version of the character, so we can kind of cast it in when we want. No, they cast a woman in there for a reason, because they weren't just putting a white dude in there. They're putting a woman in there, so that, and a very talented woman at that, to put her in there to say, no, this is a different version of it. I still think they probably should have cast an Asian man to do the role, but I understand why people are kind of getting it. I think that it's a larger thing than just one, because you have a Gods of Egypt and Exodus and all these other movies that have just
Ghost
been,
in the Shell.
Yeah, just been whitewashed. So it's a bigger issue than I think just this one, because this one is a little, I think, different than the other ones. But I still understand the concern behind it. But they're trying to rationalize why they're doing it. What do you think?
Well, I mean, the writer, Cargill, came out and said a few other things. I'm pretty sure his quote was the one about China and Tibet.
Right.
Where it's basically you don't want to isolate a billion people by making a Fu Manchu-ish type character up in some weird mountain. And whether it's in Tibet or China, there's both of those areas are, under a lot of different political situations. So I think Marvel is playing it safe and also saying we're not going to make this, a Charlie Chan kind of type of a thing. And, I think that by using those kinds of stereotypes, they were able to kind of rationalize, or at least make changing it to a white female instead of an old ancient Asian person. They made it make a little more sense, saying it's Celtic as opposed to something else. So
This casting would have never happened on Harloff Minor. I'll tell you that much. I don't have a big problem with Marvel's statement. It's the right time from Marvel's perspective to release something it's very lawyery and just kind of vague and it's a different interpretation. That's fine, because you're releasing the statement now. You have a huge movie from your company that has nothing to do with this yet called Civil War that's coming out. You release it right before Civil War, months before this movie comes out. So when there is another uproar from everybody else, when the movie's actually released, Marvel's like, hey, we already addressed this months ago. We're cool. We're past it. I think Cargill's comments could have come off a little bit smoother. I think that for a screenwriter, it's like it was very brash. I understand what his point is about how Tibet wants to be an independent nation, and so if you want to get political between Tibet and China, that might cause unrest between 1 billion people. I get that. I get that that's an excuse. I don't really see that as the reason why you don't cast an Asian actor to play this role. Schnepp, my question to you is, because you're so versed in Doctor Strange, is Marvel's interpretation, what they said in that statement, true, where the Ancient One has taken a lot of different forms?
Yes and no. I mean, look,
is there a Celtic Doctor Strange or Ancient One out there somewhere?
There is in this movie now. So, I mean, and to be honest with you, it doesn't bother me. I mean, I think the comics were written back in the 60s, where they had kind of like a stereotypical Ancient One. It was like, this old guy, Asian guy. And it's like, I don't mind them moving it into the now, especially with Tilda Swinton. She's an incredible actress. So I think the casting is fine. I have zero problems with it. Talk to me about some other movies. I'll give you some issues about that, but I don't have any issues with Doctor Strange casting.
You guys know this is such poop. This is such, I don't want to like get, too rowdy and buck or whatever, but are you kidding me? This is opportunity for another minority to get a role which like comes, once in the bluest of moons, and like this is the millionth time this has happened. Oh, it's just one role. This happens all the time. This reminds me of like how offended I was when Jake Gyllenhaal was cast in Prince of Persia.
Right.
It's like, this is an opportunity for a minority to finally get a role, and how does it happen?
But on the flip side of that, it is now an opportunity for, like, normally a woman wouldn't get a role like that, and a guy did, but a woman got the role. So how do you,
That's true.
being on the other side of that, how do you feel that, instead of, no, they didn't cast an Asian actor, but the character was traditionally a man, and it's a woman. So how do you feel on that?
Yeah, no, I do definitely, like, appreciate that, but, like, how awesome would it have been to have, to the best of both the worlds? Like, sure, cast a woman, but, like, also a minority, come on.
Well, I'll play devil's advocate. The Baron Mordo was a white guy in the comics, and they cast Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Okay,
so, I mean, I don't think they're doing this to whitewash. I would definitely say it's not whitewashing. It's trying different things with the casting. I mean, Wong is a character who's played Doctor Strange's assistant. He's Asian, and he's Asian in this movie. They cast an Asian guy who's playing an Asian. The Ancient One, I think they're just looking to break the stereotype, as well as also not cause a million rifts between a billion
that
people.
Definitely makes sense, but I just think, and also this is such a touchy time, I think, in this subject, it kind of would have just been nice to go with a minority.
I would agree. I would agree with like other movies like Ghost in the Shell, or even a billion other people. Exodus, whatever that.
This might be like the straw that broke the camel's back situation, where so many people were talking about. Then this is the one. But look, even as I think about it, you cannot convince me that they're having discussions about who we're going to cast, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we have this Asian actor that's great." It's like, "Oh well, no, we got this political unrest situation between Tibet and China, so let's not do that." That's BS. It's well written BS, but it's BS.
All right, what's next?
Now that director Neill Blomkamp is taking on a new Alien movie, he'll toss out Part 3 and Resurrection and start fresh, picking up from where James Cameron's Aliens left off. With Sigourney Weaver's Ripley and Michael Bihn's Hicks represented in Blomkamp's concept art he released a while back, fans were wondering if he'd also include the characters of Newt, who tragically died at the beginning of Aliens 3. To mark Alien Day yesterday, Blomkamp answered the fans, sharing concept art of what his new non-dead Newt would look like. And although the fans love the idea of another Alien movie with Ripley, there still hasn't been an official release date set for the movie. Schnepp, what do you think of the possibility of Newt coming back for an Alien sequel?
I'm really excited in the year 2023 to finally see this Alien 5, because that's when you're going to see it. It's not, they can show you as much concept art as you want. Ridley Scott is making Alien Covenant right now, and he's making 2 more sequels to that film. So he's making Alien Covenant 2, and Alien Covenant 3, whatever they're going to be called, before you ever see Alien 5. That's what's going on. Ridley kind of pushed his way back into the Alien franchise after Alien 5 had been announced, but before, he was already making Prometheus, and then this came about with, let's make an Alien 5 and kind of like skip over 3 and 4, and basically Ridley played his hand and said, no, that has to wait. It's going to mess up what I'm doing. I'm telling the story that happened before Alien, so that's what we're going to have to wait.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be a little bit before we see it. But as far as whether or not I'm happy that Newt's coming back, yes, because I do like, and we have been very vocal on this panel about how we didn't love Chappie. You liked Elysium very much. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I loved District 9. The guy's a good filmmaker, and I think there's a question on Mailbag. I can't remember when it came up, but we were just talking about sometimes when the political message overshines the film, or something like most of Blomkamp's movies, or Tomorrowland, or movies like that.
Right.
I am looking forward to a Neill Blomkamp movie that is just an entertainment. I'm sure there'll be some stuff in there as well too, but more of a balance of District 9 than it was the other two movies that he did. That being said, I love the fact that he's retconning 3 and 4, whatever, and bringing back Newt. I want to see what happened to that character. I love that Michael Biehn may come back if they can get him to come back. But I think that it's going to be a little bit. I think it'll be earlier than you think, but I still think we're looking at about 4 or 5 years from now.
I wish they would just greenlight it and shoot it, because no one's getting any younger.
Yeah.
Just
True.
shoot it, let it sit in the can for 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, look, I never been a huge fan of the character of Newt. Like, I get why she's in there in Aliens. It's just like, we're having this great action adventure, and it's Sigourney Weaver versus a bunch of aliens, and now we got to help this kid survive. Like, I get it as a plot device. So her coming back, I'm going to look on the positive side and saying, if we can, anything that gets rid of Alien 3, and anything that gets rid of Alien Resurrection is good news in my book. And it's like, hey, we're taking this stuff that's supposedly canon, and we're just throwing it down the toilet. I love that, because it's not good canon. You're taking aliens, and then you're using that as a leaping off point for the new story. That's what I appreciate. So if we get an adult Newt who's like a badass, the next Ripley perhaps, then I'm on board.
Well, what if it's Brie Larson?
But yeah, that's what
You know
I'm
what I
saying.
mean? Yeah,
Like,
right.
I just when I'm watching Aliens and I see Newt come on screen, I'm like, oh,
Right. But to see her later on
Yeah.
and being, trained by Ripley years later, and then, like you said, now pushing it forward to where she can be a main character later on down the line, because I think it's also an opportunity to we see what Ridley Scott's going to do to connect the entire universe, and maybe they can collaborate together and really make this thing just one big fun.
I think that's the question. That's what we're all hoping for as fans, is like that Ridley Scott and Neill Blomkamp can become friends. Like, hey, you guys hang out and have lunch together and talk about aliens, right? Like, that's what we want. I just don't know who decided, like, if that's actually going down, or if it's like Schnepp's universe, where it's like Ridley Scott's going to make his movies and he hates that somebody else is trying to make an alien movie, so I'm just going to keep making Prometheuses until this guy doesn't want to do it.
What Scott said is he doesn't want it diluted anymore. He said those other sequels like 3 and 4 and Alien Predators has diluted the Alien franchise, and he wants to get it back to the horror franchise that it once was.
Right.
All right, what's next?
An exclusive interview with the Russo brothers for Captain America Civil War, our very own Steve Frosty Weintraub sat down with the two directors to talk all things Civil War when it was revealed that the brothers enlisted help from another directing duo, John Wick directors Chad Stahelski and David Leitch. The Russos revealed to Frosty that they wanted some help directing some action sequences and second unit material. Joe Russo explained how he called in a huge favor from his friends, saying, "Just as friends, we asked them if they'd come out and help us execute some of the action sequences, along with Spiro Rossatos, who generally regarded as the top guy along with Chad and Dave. We literally had an all-star team of second unit directors working on this movie with us because we cared so much about the action and the quality of the action, and we knew we had to work really hard to up our game from Winter Soldier." Mark, what are your thoughts on the Russo brothers enlisting the help of the two John Wick directors?
Well, it's certainly paid off, is my thoughts, because as somebody who finally saw Civil War, and we talked about this a little bit in a review that we're not going to show you guys just yet about how great the action scenes are. I love that the Russo brothers not only recruited these guys to help out with the action, because you can certainly tell how professional it is, but also that they're so willing to be forthright with this information. Right. Like, yeah, we brought in help. Like, I love directors who check their ego at the door, because there's a lot of directors that would want to come in and say, no, I'm doing every action scene. I'm the guy directing this. I'm the only one that has the final say so. And for them to come in and be like, no, we want to collaborate ideas. It seems to be, for the most part, what Marvel has always been about. It's like, we're going to get a bunch of people in a room, have the best ideas emerge, whoever has it, and you can obviously see that they had a lot to do with these fight scenes. Now I want to go back and watch the movie again, because I'm like, oh yeah, I see that style, because they come from the stunt background. And these fight scenes, guys, they're gonna blow your mind when you see Civil War, and it's just another credit to those directors. It gets me more excited for John Wick 2. This is nothing but great news in my book.
No, it makes a ton of sense, and then when you go back and you replay it in your mind, the scenes, yeah, it makes sense. And that's why what's everyone talking about, how great the action is. So, and I also think it's great that the Russo brothers said, yeah, we called in this favor. And when we all got a chance to talk to them, they're directors that are constantly learning and want to learn more. And they're becoming these guys that you just are so in awe of because they're constantly going to school. So why not go to school from one of the movies that you could arguably one of the best action movies as far as action in the last 10 years. So to see this happen and to hear this happen, it makes a lot of sense. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool that they were able to call in some of their pals because in directing these big budget films, second unit is just as almost important as first unit. First unit is usually coverage of all the main actors, and then second unit is action, chase scenes, third unit would just be like, go get the outside exterior of this building, let me get some car shots, just things, people on the street. So you have all these different people simultaneously shooting at the same time. So what the Russo brothers did is they called in some other great directors to be shooting at the same time and also to help them choreograph and make all these second unit scenes just like first unit, just of the same quality and high level standards. So that's what I mean when they brought in these action guy directors who are also their friends. They definitely got paid. It wasn't just like, hey, can you work with us for like 3 weeks for free because you're my friend? I'm sure they got some money, but at the same time, it's
hey,
like,
I need a ride to the airport, and can you also choreograph 3 weeks?
You get some free breakfast. Is it cool? But I think, yeah, they did a fantastic job. All three of the guys that they mentioned are fantastic directors in their own right. I am excited for John Wick 2, and it really shows in Civil War. The action is unbelievable.
So you're saying if the Russo brothers call you for a favor, just block off the rest of your month.
Block it off.
It might be a big favor, but it's going to pay off.
It could be a big favor or a small favor. Block off the whole month.
All right, now it is time for Buy or Sell. Ashley's going to read down some more of the stuff happening in the world of movie news, and myself, Schnepp, and Ellis are going to either buy or sell it, and so will you guys. If there's a topic that you want to chime in on, do it in the chat room. Buy or sell. Ashley, what do we got?
Out promoting his next movie, The Meddler, J.K. Simmons sat down for a lengthy video interview with DP30 to discuss the new film when the subject of Justice League and his part as Commissioner Gordon came up. The actor admitted his role in the film isn't very big, at least for this first part of the Justice League. However, since he is no stranger to working in the superhero genre, he mentioned that he believes he will be back for many more movies to come. Simmons said, I'm going into a thing that hopefully will be 2, 3, 4, maybe more movies for me, and my part in the first one is really very small. But obviously, we know who the guy is. We know his whole backstory based on the comic book. So I'm just going to finish doing my research on that and probably not watch the other actors who have played the part because that is kind of intimidating, honestly, and I don't think I would find that to be productive. So I'll do my take. Kristian, buy or sell Simmons' comments of more movies as Commissioner Gordon?
Sell. Spoiler, now I know he lives. No, I buy it. I buy everything that J.K. Simmons says, especially with this, and I love the fact that it's one thing if he had never, because he had talked about it a while back, that if he was just not aware of the character at all or any of the actors who had played him, and he was just like, no, I'm just going to go in and wing it, that's one thing. But if he knows the character, he knows the backstory, he knows the people who have come before him, I don't need him to go back and watch the old movies. I don't need him to try to find out what Gary Oldman's take was. I don't need any of that. Because J.K. Simmons is a guy that you trust to see. Yeah, look, I mean, he's the best.
All we need is that mustache. Sorry.
Yeah, it'll come in there. But he is, and as far as more movies go, I mean, of course, that's the plan. We know that there's going to continue to make more movies, and we're going to have a Suicide Squad. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm anticipating that film to really set us up to get some more backstory into the DCU, and then eventually lead us up to the Justice League. So to hear his comments, yeah, I buy them. Mark?
It's a buy, Kristian. Yeah. It's a huge buy. I buy it as much as the time you high-five J.K. Simmons walking by him on the street at Comic-Con, and he was very happy to do that, and he always seems to be so giving, whether it's an interview. The guy's honest, okay? Yeah. He's telling you the truth right now. And who really wanted Commissioner Gordon to have a huge part of the Justice League? It's like, oh, it's really cute. You're a police officer. We have superheroes who need to form a bond together to go fight evil all over the galaxy. So excuse me if we don't need to make a huge role for every police officer walking the streets of Gotham. It's a great role. It's a tiny one. Maybe it develops when you're doing the Batman movie that Ben Affleck's going to be doing. I'm sure he's going to have a bigger part in there. You're right, Schnepp. Give me a mustache. Give me J.K. Simmons. I don't need Gary Oldman's take. I don't need Pat Hingle's take. I want to see what this guy brings to it.
Well, Pat Hingle, he can't get his take now. But you know what? I love that he came out and just said, look, I'm signing on for 4 or 5 of these things, maybe 6, who knows. I'm really glad that I too was like happy to hear that he's not running the Justice League, is he? It's like that would just be weird.
Silly.
Yeah, it'd be silly. So he's basically saying, look, I'm probably gonna have this one-on-one scene with Bruce Wayne where he's like, look, maybe you'll be Batman or something. It's like, should I run this league or what? And he's like, go do it or whatever. A pep talk with Bruce Wayne is pretty much what we're probably gonna get, and that's all I really want to see Commissioner Gordon in a Justice League movie. But I'm really excited to know that he signed off for multiple issues, so to speak. And the Batman is the one that I'm really the most excited to see him in, and I want to see him play a big role in that.
But you know what else I totally buy is him as his character from Whiplash walking into a room and just telling the Justice League members what to do.
Just screaming at Batman.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, Green Lantern, it's not my tempo.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What's next?
Yeah, faster. They're all doing push-ups.
Really getting on the Flash to move faster.
Yeah. Double time. And
Film buffs will soon have a new viewing option for contemporary and classic movies with the start of a streaming service called Filmstruck this fall. Developed by Turner Classic Movies in partnership with Criterion Collection, the new subscription-based service will feature hundreds of films from independent and major Hollywood studios that include such titles as Seven Samurai, Breaker Morant, Blood Simple, and Mad Max. Criterion will operate a channel on the service to spotlight more than 1,000 films and other content such as commentary on films and filmmakers. The service will be advertising free, though specific pricing details are still being determined. Schnepp, do you buy or sell a new streaming service from Turner and Criterion?
by the way, you say Criterion. Criterion. It sounds like it's a
Did I
futuristic.
say it weird?
Yeah, to me, it sounds
when
like
I
a.
see
Criterion.
them in the bargain bin at
Criterion.
at Walmart or something, I say Criterion.
You do?
Collect. Yeah.
Cri-
It just sounds
Criterion?
like a space planet. It's like a Star Wars.
The Criterions are fighting
the Criterion system.
the Harloff Minorians.
Anyway, I buy Filmstruck. I'm gonna subscribe to it as soon as it's available because, I mean, Hulu they have a lot of films and they have the Criterion collection if you have Hulu Plus. But most of the other films that are on Hulu you've never heard of, Icebreakers or Skimby Kids or whatever. It's like films you've never heard of. That's what's
Skimby
on.
Kids is pretty good.
Skimby Kids 2 is what I really. The first one and the second
where they
sequel was
started
better.
talking, right?
Yeah.
They jumped the shark.
Yeah, 3 was the worst one. But seriously, Filmstruck, to get Turner's incredible media base of films, I mean, the Turner archives alone are just an incredible vault. And if they even put 1/4 of what they've got on Filmstruck, it'd be worth paying a subscription for. So that plus Criterion, cannot wait.
That's exactly right. I buy it as well for those reasons because, like you said, you mentioned Hulu and Netflix and all this. And even Netflix is more about their new series. You go to Netflix, what are you really talking about? Their original content now. That's what they're their own network. And their movies are okay. And they're not trying to push out movies. So to hear about this and get some, I would love a streaming system where it's like because a lot of times, and if you have DirecTV or whatever you might have, that the movies you got to really. You're reaching for good stuff. So like to have a series with the Turner library to know that okay, this is the streaming system to go to get really good movies. That's something that's really not out there right now because there is a big push on original series and content for television. So which is great.
Yes.
We just need another thing. So I think this is it.
Yeah, and classic movies too. I mean, it's time for my grandparents to fire up Netscape Navigator because you finally have a streaming service for you. You can watch movies as old as the hills if you want, and it seems like there's going to be more newer movies added to it as well. So if you want Filmstruck, by the way, if they don't have AC/DC do their marketing campaign, I just don't know how to sell stuff anymore. It's the perfect fit other than you might be going to a slightly older demographic.
You just have to say Filmstruck. Filmstruck. I agree with you. And the other thing about just having the Turner and Criterion is like not only just older films, but the classic films that don't seem to be on any of these other streaming services. You go to Amazon or Netflix or Hulu, you can't really get I want to see a musical besides Singing in the Rain. So I think you're going to get the ability to go back further into the past, which unfortunately it's like a lot of new releases are on a lot of these newer streaming sites. So I'd like to see a lot of 50s and 60s and 70s films. There's so many amazing films that you just don't have access to. So that's what I'm hoping happens.
I cannot tell you guys how many voicemails I have on my phone from an angry Schnepp at midnight yelling that they only have Singing in the Rain on Netflix and there's no other options. I'm sorry, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
That's
or is
entertainment.
Ellis drunk and yelling at himself in his phone, pretending it's Schnepp? All right, what's
Why
next?
won't Schnepp go Singing in the Rain?
Singing in the Ring with Scrimpy McScrimp.
The first full-length trailer for Oliver Stone's long-awaited biographical thriller Snowden has finally arrived. The film tells the story of Edward Snowden, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who is a gifted son of a family steeped in military service who enlists in the Army Reserve as a special forces candidate working for the Central Intelligence Agency. The movie will also focus in on Snowden's theft and disclosure of classified National Security Agency information. The film opens in theaters on September 16th and also stars Shailene Woodley, Melissa Leo, Zachary Quinto, Tom Wilkinson, Rhys Ifans, and Nicolas Cage. Mark, buy or sell the new trailer for Oliver Stone's Snowden.
I buy or sell that pronunciation of Rhys Ifans because that's how I suggested. That's how you pronounce it. Is it real? I have absolutely no idea. And there's breaking news, everybody. I buy the trailer. It looks very nice. It looks Oliver Stone eyes. I don't know how much of it is true. That's fine. Breaking news. I am not the only one who's been drinking since 9 in the morning.
Right.
The sidebar has also been drinking, ladies and
It was.
gentlemen.
It's back.
We have
Oh, yeah.
another drunken sidebar appearance.
Yeah. It just,
All right.
but it got sober pretty quick now.
Spring
It's back.
break on
Yeah.
Harloff Minor, everybody.
Yeah.
This trailer looked amazing, dude.
Yeah, it's
this
back.
trailer, it's like it does what Oliver Stone has always been able to do: is grab me, and you watch the movie, and I'm sure I'm going to be so entertained. Then I'm going to go back and do the research and be like, well, that didn't necessarily maybe go down quite like that. Oliver Stone probably wrote that scene at 3 a.m. But I love the trailer, so I have to buy it. And when I think about Oliver Stone, I tend to think about his great movies like Platoon, JFK. Our first review ever was what?
W.
Very good.
Of all time on the Schmoes channel. That is the first video we ever uploaded there. I will also buy this trailer for the same reasons. This is a perfect movie that Oliver Stone should be doing. Like you said, there's going to be tons of historical inaccuracies throughout this. Oh, you know there will be, but that's fine. That's why you go to an Oliver Stone movie. He puts you on the edge of your seat the entire time. I like the creepy accent that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is doing as well too. Shailene Woodley in these types of roles always shines. This is a movie that I didn't even really know was coming out, and it's the first trailer that I've seen for it. And it's a nice kind of switch or alternative to the big budget, whether it be at Independence Day or Captain America or Batman vs Superman. It's a different type of movie, and I look forward to these movies. And to see a director like Oliver Stone coming back, I want to see what happens with it. Now, is it going to be great? I have no idea, but at least I am intrigued by all this to see the kind of controversy that this man is going to do. What do you think?
Yeah, I buy the trailer. I mean, while watching the trailer, it's like I couldn't help but think about the Bourne Identity and all these, crazy action thrillers. But the horrible thing about this is it's based on reality, so it's even more frightening and scary to know the NSA has been basically spying on all of us for all these years, and yet we're allowing our own government to go after the guy who let us know that we're being spied on illegally. It's pretty insane, the world we live in. And sometimes when movies like this happen, I'm sure there'll be a little flourish here or there that maybe might not be real. But the guy Snowden is a real guy, and all the things that happen in the film are pretty real. So it's scary and horrible, and also kind of exciting to see a movie based on this weird reality that we live in.
Well, that's the thing with Oliver Stone is, regardless of how accurate it's going to be, you know that this guy is not afraid to go after it.
Right.
Every movie he does, whether it be from JFK to W to Platoon to this, he goes after it. He tells if he's got his agenda, he sticks to it and he goes for it. Now, whether or not you want to buy into his movies, that's up to you. But he's not going to pull punches. Mm-hmm. Okay, now it is time for Rewind, brought to you by our friends over at AMC Theaters. We go and we explore the movies of 10 years ago and 20 years ago. Ashley, what came out 10 and 20 years ago?
10 years ago, there was United 93, RV, starring Robin Williams, and Stick It. And then 20 years ago, The Truth About Cats and Dogs, Mulholland Falls, and The Quest.
We're starting to get into better movies.
Right.
As highlighted by The Quest.
Yeah, well, but The Quest actually, it's
a
not
horrible
great.
film.
It's not great. I
It's a
know.
horrible
I know
movie.
it is. I know it is.
And
But
I'm a
listen,
Van Damme fan.
I know
Van
it's
Damme
not good.
directed it. It was like, what are you doing,
I
dude?
know. I just remember going to
Stop.
see it in the theater and being a Van Damme fan. And but yeah, it's not good. But the other ones that you have out there, look, The Truth About Cats and Dogs is a good romantic comedy. Mulholland Falls, but the one that stands out to me is United 93 with Paul Greengrass. That is a powerful movie. I mean, shows his respect to the events of 9/11. Shows his just filmmaking in general, and it was a movie that I thought was done very well at the time. And I remember watching it and just really being impressed with everything, the way Paul Greengrass just makes films. So that's, it's not one you can rewatch, but it's one that is certainly a movie that if you haven't seen it, you should check it out, because it's a very powerful movie. And the RV with the late Robin Williams, not so good, and I have no idea what stick it is. Do we know what that is? Oh,
I know what that
movie is.
is.
Missy, I know what that is. The gymnastics movie.
The
What happened to her?
gymnastic movie.
When
I
she
have no
when
idea.
she came out, I thought she was going to, because they were talking about Wonder Woman back when I was at Silver Pictures.
Oh,
and she was thrown
damn.
in the Missy Peregrine. Is that her name?
Wow, she went from
sounds like, yeah.
100 to 0 real quick.
Oh,
man.
Miss
That sucks.
Miss Peregrine. She opened a home for peculiar
Peculiar
children.
children.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't remember what her name is, but whatever her name is, but she was.
I like how you just agreed with me. Oh yeah,
I don't know. She was dating. She was. I don't know. All I remember is that I think she's dating Aaron Rodgers. I don't know who she's dating, but all I know is that she was around for a second. Now she's gone.
You get one planet in Star Wars, and
goes to
you
my-
just don't care
yeah.
about the little movies anymore. Man.
I liked her, but then where is she? She's
Stick
gone.
it.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't see
She's
it.
sticking it
I
somewhere.
never even
Oh,
heard it. She's sticking it
Ashley
somewhere.
Mulva.
Oh boy. Yeah, for me, Mulholland Falls was a fun, kind of weird detective film. I remember Nick Nolte is in it, and there's a couple of great scenes with Jennifer Connelly. The other memorable one definitely is United 93. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. It isn't a film that you're going to rewatch, but it's an emotionally gripping film that kind of, I think Greengrass did a really good job of depicting, this horrible tragedy. So
Yeah, I mean, my Hard Target changed my life, and so I saw that. And then I remember reading that Van Damme had Time Cop coming out, and I'm like, oh, I'll get excited for that. Then Time Cop was awesome, and then I heard he's directing The Quest, and I remember being so excited, like, oh, finally, we get to give this guy, this genius, all this creative control. And I don't even know if I made it to The Quest to see it in theaters because it was so bad. I remember renting it, and Roger Moore was in it. I think he was the bad guy, right? The Bond classic Roger Moore, and the movie. I don't know that I've ever made it through the movie. It's so bad.
dude, I went and saw it in the theater, and that's one of those films I walked out on.
Oh.
Yeah,
I didn't know what I was watching. I finally was like, I'm just going to go
Quest.
see another movie.
I mean, 10 years ago, very bittersweet for me because I remember RV opened, and RV had a huge opening. It had a huge opening weekend, and that weekend, Robin Williams came into the Comedy Store. And it's the first time I ever got to meet Robin Williams and spend some time just like talking to him. And it was like one of the coolest memories of my entire life. And he was there. He had a hit movie again, and it was just fun to see him back. He went on stage, got a standing O as he's going on stage and leaving the stage. So it was pretty special.
All right, now we are actually going to show you guys a little clip from an interview that Mark did with the stars of Ratchet and Clank. It's a movie coming out this weekend. Mark got to sit down with the cast, and here is said clip.
Right before we went to air, I made the crack that for the first time, I have like the third best voice on the panel because usually I get some credit for my pipes, but listening to you guys talk and the way that you guys can just go into different characters, is it something that is birthed from just getting a live microphone? Like if you're in radio and you're like, oh, I really have a penchant for this, but not necessarily just doing my own voice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure, really. Depends. You, James?
Well, the thing is, Mark, when you want to use your voice to speak well, some people have a way with language, others not have a way.
The old Steve Martin joke. Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's fun. You do hear yourself a lot in headphones. I mean, I think most of our lives, more than half of our lives, we've spent with headphones on,
too
hearing
much.
ourselves. So you get used to it. Because people usually they go, "Oh, I hate my voice. I don't want to," But I mean, you're used to it now too, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I hear myself way too much. I'm sure the fans out there would agree with that sentiment. James, you started out in California, and you actually your performing career kind of started with stand-up, and then
comedy.
it moved into doing voiceover work.
Yeah.
And now you have so I mean, you got Star Wars, you have Guardians of the Galaxy, and now Ratchet and Clank.
I'm blessed beyond belief. Yeah, it's a weird little career, and only in voiceover could this be Fred Flintstone and Johnny Test and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ratchet. I mean, it's like, yeah, you wouldn't Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy, he's all right. And Michael Rooker, he's a lot of fun to do. And Cosmo, the telepathic Russian cosmonaut dog, yes. So
And do
he's great, yes.
your Christopher Walken.
Chris Walken, he's crazy. Mark, I like to do Chris, but it's good. David, do some voices now, David.
Yeah, David, how do you follow that?
No,
I don't know how
he's
I follow that.
He's pretty great.
It's been an interesting, varied career. Like, it sort of grew out of radio. The first character I ever did was a character called Cowboy Dick, because this morning show we had, the Morning Zoo, and it was a cowboy the guitar. Howdy, boy, the girl. Howdy, cowboy. I'm going to sing you a little song about a pet chicken. Chicken, chicken. We did that sort of thing, and out of that came. It was G.I. Joe's my first cartoon, and it's all that quick follow me toward the danger. Yo, Joe! It's sort of, hey, bravado stuff like this. We're going to fight the bad
Prime?
guy. And it was, Megatron was the first in Beast Wars. And it was a combination of a lizard, Anthony Hopkins, and Sean Connery.
Yeah,
and that sort of
you find those combinations with other voices. Yeah, so what was that?
It was sort of like a bit of a lisp, but yes, excellent, sort of thing in here. It was just, you kind of drop into this snaky, dragony sort of character.
I think I just found out what separates professional voiceover actors from people like me who just like doing impressions occasionally is that I have to gear up to do an impression.
Oh, do you?
Like, it takes me like 5 minutes, and I have to rev up, and then eventually I can do Gilbert Gottfried.
The thing is if you're gonna do Gilbert Gottfried, you have to be able to do very, very quiet things. I like to go into a library and do, it's kind of good, isn't it? Come on, Mark, do a little Gilbert.
I just quit. I just waved the white flag.
So there you go. There's the interview, part of the interview, with the guys from Ratchet and Clank. The full interview is going to be up today around 1 p.m. Mark, seemed like a lot of fun. Those guys are cool.
Yeah, I was off my game doing the voices.
Nice.
Yeah, those guys are phenomenal, and all three of those guys so handsome.
Hey, I had a question. Isn't there like another really cool junket called Mother's Day that's on Collider?
It is.
YouTube?
It's actually,
you can watch that right now.
It is up right now. I don't know who sat down. One of our guys sat down with the cast of Mother's Day. That's up on the channel right now.
Mother's Day is a holiday. It's not a feature
Mother's
film.
Day. No, it's actual Mark Ellis. It's a feature film coming out with
Julia Roberts.
Jennifer Aniston.
How do you know
Kate
all
Hudson.
this?
There's
You've
a
seen it
poster
3
that's right
times
behind you.
Oh my! Whoa!
Well, yep, Mother's Day,
Oh,
everyone.
that's shocking to me.
Let's leave
check
this
that
segment
out.
as fast as
Okay,
possible.
and here we go.
So if you guys, what I'd like you guys to do before we get into the mailbag questions, Ashley Mova is going to be taking live Twitter questions from you guys. All you guys have to do is go to @Collider Video, submit your tweets, and we want a whole bunch of different questions here. We want stuff that, obviously movie stuff. You want to throw in some TV stuff? Do it at this point. Why? Because we're going to promote TV talk. That's why. Also, you want to throw in some behind the scenes stuff, you can do that as well too. But throw them out there. Let's do it. But first, it's mailbag time. Ashley, what are they saying in mailbag?
Lauren Gonzalez writes, "Hi Collider, I was wondering if you could explain a little about how copyright and fair use work on YouTube." And how fair use work on YouTube. Okay. I know you can't play a movie during your commentary or show certain clips, etc., but I know you use the trailer in your videos when you do reactions. I just saw Jeremy John say on Twitter he got a copyright claim on his X-Men trailer video, and he only used clips from the trailer. So how does this work? What's allowed and what isn't? As a non-YouTuber, I'm always clueless when these things come up on yours and other shows. Thanks.
Fair use.
Fair use, baby. Fair use.
Fair use. Look, there's a lot of different things. You never know. It's like a computer. Sometimes it's kind of going through and flagging people. What's weird, the reason that we just did that too is we just got something from the shit
did?
rats. Yeah, for the chipmunks, and I disputed it because we are accredited on MPAA and we're certified by Rotten Tomatoes, and it's normally that fair use means that if you put a certain amount of trailer inside of your video or even pictures, promotional pictures, then you're doing it as a review. So it's
It was our Chipmunks review?
yeah, and they disputed it I disputed it. And normally they always overrule it, and they didn't overrule it. I guess because I call them shit rats.
No, I'll tell you why. Because I used a lot of the trailer. I was editing that
Oh,
review.
you did?
He did it. He did the review solo, and I was trying to cover for you,
Yeah.
buddy. You looked so bored reviewing that
Oh,
movie.
man, yeah.
And I'm like, I need to use a lot of other footage in here because he just looked like a tortured dad.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
like, I just had to go through hell. And he just clearly wasn't having a good time, so I tried to cover for you.
That was the origin of the shit rats, by the way. So if you guys want to go, you go to the chip. What was it called?
Shit Rat's Origins.
What was it called? The most recent one. It wasn't shipwreck.
It was the road chip.
The road chip.
chip.
So if you want to check that out, that's where that started from. But yeah, so as far as fair use goes, that's usually what happens. Like you'll put enough footage in there, and they'll put a copy. They won't take your channel down, but it's
No,
like
there's
there's
a
a certain
claim on you. You can't monetize it.
a certain amount of footage footage that you can put in there. And sometimes, though, even though it is fair use, I don't know. They can do what they want sometimes.
Yeah, we try to stick to under 10 seconds,
Yeah.
and there's some algorithm. It's not like a human being that's like looking at all this stuff. It's some weird algorithm that some genius a lot smarter than me wrote, and that's how they flag it. So it feels random, but it's not. It's just that us underlings have no idea how it works.
That's why sometimes you'll see when idiots and jerks rip off movies and they put them up on YouTube.
Yeah.
They have a filter, like a little halo filter that they put on it, and then the movie itself has different little weird moves and zooms and stuff. You're like, what the hell? It's I've seen it because I've seen my film, and they've done that to my film just to avoid having the robot copyright thing. But you could still report them and get it taken down. But that happens a lot, and I mean, there's nothing you really do about it. You just have to constantly be on the lookout for it. But the reverse of it is when we do our commentaries, we can't show that. A lot of people, why don't you do a picture-in-picture? It's because we don't own the copyright.
And
of
you
that
can't
film.
show
you
that
can't
long.
show
No.
a 2-hour film.
Yeah.
So you could maybe show a little, like 3 seconds of the heads or something, so you could sync it up.
People watching the chat room is hysterical. People who have seen you and I do that before are like, they're happy that it's back. The people who haven't seen it have no idea what's going on. All right, what's next?
Alistair Gibson writes, "Hi guys, greetings from Edinburgh. Love the show. Watch every day. What do you guys consider the most iconic soundtrack / theme song? Personally, John Williams' Superman theme is my favorite. Thanks, Allie."
Sorry, Ellis. I'm probably going to steal yours here because Jaws. When you think of Jaws, it is you know right away what you're getting. It's all John Williams stuff. Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Superman. Those are the ones that stand out to me as far as the most iconic. There are certainly other other ones out there that are great, but the ones that stand out to me, as when you hear it, you know exactly what it is. Those are the ones.
All right, name this one.
Mad Max.
I'm holding down the bass for you.
I'm doing it wrong anyway. It's Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah. Okay, let's go with.
Yeah, I'll go to one of my favorite genres, horror, and I'll say either Tubular Bells from The Exorcist or the Halloween theme. It's just very simple, like Jaws.
Totally.
Just on it. I think John Carpenter actually wrote it. He just plays on the piano, and as soon as you hear it, it's a piano. It's a fun instrument. It should not be used for horror, but as soon as you hear it, you're like, oh my God, there's a killer right behind me.
So what do you got? Give me a couple more though, because you know which one someone suggested here. All right, here are some.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Somebody brought me a CD when I did a show in Ohio. That was
I know that's
Sergio
iconic,
Leone.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is totally
Robin
iconic.
Hood's Prince of Thieves is not iconic.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. That score, the opening score, is iconic.
No one knows what that is.
Hum it. Let me see if I recognize it.
Nope. No. So this is what Batman.
Shit rats. You're all shit rats.
Batman 1989. The Pirates theme. Jurassic Park. Absolutely. The new Batman with Hans Zimmer. I think so. Yeah, I could say that as well.
It's like, you've got a lot of the old ones, like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Look, Ellis. Some of us didn't, listen to the Prince of Thieves soundtrack when we were kids. It's like,
Terminator.
Yes.
Yeah, good ones
Terminator.
here.
Arnold's got a lot of good themes for his films.
Yeah, but normally it's me just singing in the bathtub. That's what I do. Sometimes, come on, don't bullshit me. That's what I do. I sit there, I play with my bubbles, I look up in the sky, and I go, ducky, ducky.
Yeah, you got Elmer Bernstein, like from the Psycho theme song. There's a lot of different horror themes that definitely pop off the top of my head.
All right. Now it is time for the Twitter questions. You guys have been asking questions, and the Movinator has been going through them, picking them out. God knows what she's going to pick out. She probably wrote them all herself. What did you get?
All right, Josh writes, I want to say something dirty so bad right now. All right, Josh writes, any advice on getting into the film industry with no references?
Yeah, listen, it's not easy, and it's like the one thing I think you have to do is be persistent. That's everything. I mean, look at someone like JTE, by the way, if you know who the hell that is. JTE, he was our engineer for a long time on the Schmo Show. He was an intern first, and what he did, he lied. He was a fan
Absolutely lied.
He was a fan of our show. He was just a movie fan, and he wrote to me one day, blindly, and said, hey, I would love to talk to you guys about maybe being an intern on your show, and we met with the guy, but he was lying because he was living in Connecticut and flew out from Connecticut just to sit down with Ken Knapsack at the time. And this is just one story as far as like us being persistent and how it paid off. And that went from him being an intern on our show. Now he's the engineer over at Screen Junkies. There's ways, people I know that worked in Warner Brothers that kind of just sent emails. You can be persistent, but it's also about making the right.
It's also about lying.
It's true,
Kids.
making the connections and stuff too. You know.
You know what? But the persistence, and even though he fibbed a little bit, it was probably all for the good reasons. Because I've met JXL, what is his name, JBM, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy, but. Yeah, you know what? The other P is production assistant. So when you hear the word production assistant, you always hear like, go get me some coffee and make me some Xeroxes and this and that. But actually what a production assistant really is your entry point into the world of trust. Yeah. It's like the whole reason you can get a job without having any credentials at all is if people trust you and you don't screw them over. The easiest way to get into the world of doing production in the media world, whether it's behind the scenes or in front of the scene, in front of the camera, or whatever it is you want to do, so you have to get technically hired for free to be a production assistant, so that you gain the trust of all the people who already have jobs, who are already in the industry, and they know that, oh, this person isn't going to screw me over, this person isn't going to flake, this person is going to be there in the morning, this person is going to put in the 110% that I need from everyone on the crew. And then the production assistant all of a sudden gets a job. Now they're not a production assistant anymore. Now they're like, oh, they're perhaps a associate producer or someone in the line of like, hey, you're not a runner, but like maybe an assistant editor or assistant whatever. It's you slowly get out of the realm of going to get coffee and doing a bunch of labory chores, and then you work your way into one of the areas that you want to be in. So that's what I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, persistence is what I agree with. You don't need to lie like JT did. I would say don't worry about being annoying, because as long as you're professional and whether you're cold calling people, you're emailing everybody you're just taking shots in the dark, don't worry about annoying people. Okay, if somebody says, hey, yeah, that sounds great, I'll get back to you in 2 weeks.
You gotta worry about annoying.
Don't worry about being annoying. Annoy the crap out of people,
right.
Because if you're a normal human being and you can act professional, you're not annoying them. If they tell you no, we have no openings, then back off. But if they're like, oh yeah, I'll call you in a week, and they don't call you, don't be shy. Call them back.
Well, that's what I did when I started writing for the WWE. Like I wrote letters. I wrote a bunch of letters, and then I was a big wrestling fan at the time, and I actually drove to Texas, found Paul Heyman in the lobby, asked him, how do you become a writer? And he goes, write a letter. I go, I did. He goes, write another one. I said, it's true. So I went back and I found out all the addresses to everybody. I wrote to just a whole bunch of them. And they basically, it was like Shawshank Redemption. You keep writing and they're like, all right, stop writing letters. Like, just come in for an interview. I mean, does that happen to everybody? No, but persistence is the way that you can continue to go for your dream.
Yeah, do you hear that, kids? A Tallahassee wrestling fan has his own planet in Star Wars now.
That's true. All right, Mova, what do you got?
Raphael Hispanhol writes, hey guys, what TV series would you want to cross over?
Which TV series would we like to cross over?
Like I get two independent TV series and then they cross over.
Knight Rider and Baywatch.
Nice.
Perfect Hasselhoff clone.
You know the one I was really looking forward to that actually went down that I just didn't dig as much as I thought it would was Simpsons Family Guy. I was so excited to see that crossover, and I don't ever think I fell asleep. Like it just didn't really work for me. So you got to be careful what you wish for when you have two shows cross over. When The Simpsons did it with The Critic in the '90s, and they did the Springfield Film Festival, it was one of the greatest episodes of The Simpsons I've ever seen. Modern day, I used to be like a huge sitcom guy, but there's just not enough out there to want to crossbreed anymore. So I think I would have to go to the action genre, and maybe it'd be fun to see. This would never happen in a million trillion years. But what if you had the Daredevil and the Punisher thing from that Netflix series, and they crossed over with either Arrow or the Flash for just like a 4-week run? That'd be awesome.
That you stole mine.
All right, I got one. Orphan Black and Sherlock. I want to see that. That would be a weird crossover. Castle and Land of the Lost, just for the hell of it. All right. I got a ton of them.
Good. What do you got?
Hard Castle and McCormick and Bones.
Nice. How about any of the Seven Dwarfs be showing up?
Sloopy, Drowsy, and
Scrambles.
Okay, good. I'm just taking 3 of them. The other have been macheted by Snow White. She's a psycho killer, and Hannibal. So I'm crossing over the 3 remaining dwarves on a psycho revenge trip with Hannibal to kill the evil Snow White.
Oh, it is time for the memes. Okay, what's next?
Antonio Hernandez writes, if you could improve something from your movie theater / living room, Ellis, experience, what would it be?
There's no way to improve my living room experience. The only suggestion I would have is when people come over and they pay their $10 to watch Screening Room, just bring better stuff.
Hey, look, Ellis, my suggestion for improving your amazing living room experience is just not all exclusive Coors Light. If I could just for the $10 I'm paying, I'm doing this at least twice a week now. Just get me a 6-pack again.
You're free to bring whatever kind of beer
And
you
a
want.
massage.
I feel like you
If
should
it's-
have some.
You have to drink Coors Light in the theater area. If you can go to my bedroom and drink your fancy Stella, okay?
All right, well, I don't feel comfortable being in your bedroom.
Oh,
right
guys, come on, therapy. For me, right now, what I want to design. I have a whole design in my head.
do you got?
I need to get another room first, but once I get that,
Oh,
other
for your
room-
home theater
Yeah,
experience,
yeah.
yeah.
Once I get another room, it's like being able to do this, upgrade to the surround sound all around, have the biggest television I possibly can, turning into my own bat cave or Harloff Minor, if you will.
Dude, yes!
Yeah,
Yes!
and having an entire place that is just my place to go, where it's a huge just theater experience.
How many seats?
One.
Just one.
No,
You
I mean,
greedy
I don't,
bastard.
No, I don't know. I'd probably set up a bunch for my boys, and then I think that if
You don't have any boys. You have one daughter.
you're a real dick.
Oh, I thought you meant. I
My
thought you
friends,
meant, oh, I
my
thought you
friends. I
His
have
bros,
friends.
Ellis.
I
God,
thought you meant your
even I
children.
got that.
Do you
And I
think
just
that's a
thought-
nice thing to say to someone?
I just thought I'd helpfully point out.
Call him a ball bag.
that you don't call me a ball bag. I was trying to help out. You have one daughter. Just got one daughter. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Catch it.
All right, what's next?
Margot Foster writes, "Hey guys, what is your favorite montage sequence in a movie?"
Rocky 3 and 4. 4 is a good one. No Easy Way Out. It's a pure music video, but it's fantastic.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, that action sequence where they were all singing the theme song that nobody remembers.
The Everything I Do, the Bryan Adams theme, that was a great video with which the montage of Robin Hood. I'll break the tie for you.
What you got?
It's Rocky 4, man. Rocky
Rocky
4.
IV.
And the
There's no
tiebreaker
easy way
is that
out.
Rocky 4, not only does Adrian come back in the middle of the montage, it's actually 2 songs lodged into one huge montage, the end of which Rocky climbs a
mountain.
10,000-foot mountain
And
in
goes-
1
and-
hour's time.
Yeah, and then does this.
And he proceeds to end the Cold War in the process.
That's
That's
it.
the best training montage of all time.
All right, what's next?
Matt Stoker writes, "Why do you guys think the majority of child actors don't make it later in their lives?"
It's because think about it. You are 7 or 8 years old, and you're hit with this enormous amount of fame and money, and it's a different planet. It's a different universe for you. Like when you're walking around, you're getting into clubs. Some of these people, when they get into clubs, like 12, 13 years old, and like the way that they're like, they don't see the world the way that a normal 12, 13, 14-year-old sees. So I think that think about yourself when you were younger and the way you saw the world. Like there's no way I could have and it handled superstardom at 8 to 10 years old, and then I'm not a rational human being now. But imagine like just being able to do that all the way until you're older. It's like that's tough.
It's got to
do.
be a really hard thing to do. So I have the utmost respect for all the people who've been able to get through the young teen years, and now they're segueing into a young adulthood, like Chloe Moretz. You know, she had to go
Leonardo
from like
DiCaprio.
all those actors. Yeah, now he won an Oscar. I mean, I think back about when I was a little kid, and the first young actor that I heard when it went south for was Alfalfa from the Little Rascals. He died in a bar in a knife fight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a lot of these young kids didn't know how to deal with once they became of a certain age, like either 13, 14, where they were allowed to like go out on their own and be part of the Hollywood nightlife. I mean, you're just talking about all kinds of sex, drugs, rock and roll, and you're not ready for it. You're 13, 14, you know.
Corey Haim, Corey Feldman.
Yeah, I mean, all
Team
those
sports, man. You got to get your kids in team sports. They need to hang around other people their own age. You can't be hanging out with a bunch of production assistants and directors and actors who are all older than you. I know how to
Easy,
raise
Ellis,
kids,
easy.
okay? That's how 95% of all kids end up being drug-addicted burnouts anyway, okay?
no, I
That's
guess-
not me. That's fact.
Norn Rad 2 Turbo makes a great point. Dustin Diamond turned out okay. All right, what's next?
Aaron
Read your comics,
writes,
kids.
Last one.
"Now that Leo has his Oscar, do you think he'll try directing a movie sometime soon?"
No, we'll do one more of this because we've answered this one before. I don't think it's in his cards because I don't think he wants to. He was asked. Frosty actually asked him this in an interview for The Revenant. It's not something he wants to do. The guy is one of the best producers out there right now. Like he knows there are other stars out there that have production companies and don't leverage what they have accomplished into bigger and better projects.
Right.
He has done that and continues to do that. So I don't think that he wants to direct right now. Could he down the line? I mean, maybe, but I don't think it happens for a very long time.
I'm gonna say, what do you want to do? You want to do 8 years? How's that sound? I think within 8 years, there's an announcement that Leo is going to direct something.
I'd push it. I'd say like 15 to 20, because I mean, like he can act in like 3 to 4 movies. He can act in anything that he wants right now. Now that he's won an Oscar, but he's been in that great area for many years now, because he's a really well-known, well-wanted actor. He's a great actor. He picks and chooses his films that he acts in. If you're directing the film as well, you know, that's a whole complete other job, and it also takes 2 years of your life.
And by the way, Leonardo DiCaprio, child actor, right?
That's right.
We
Growing Pains, man.
We definitely brought that up. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, he brought the. Did you guys know that Leonardo DiCaprio used to be on the program Growing Pains
And was a child actor.
Yeah,
he was a child actor. Wait a minute,
yeah.
that's weird. Gilbert Grape, right?
And he was considered for the role of Maid Marian in Robin Hood, Prince of
That
Thieves.
is
So
crazy.
it went to Mary Elizabeth
I
Moss.
heard that Leonardo actually did the score for Prince of Thieves.
This will be the last one.
All right. Kylo Ben writes, what's the next commentary?
That's hysterical.
Prince of Thieves.
I
Next commentary
literally
is happening
just
right
wrote
now.
Dennis a Slack asking this particular question.
Oh.
Dennis, thumbs up?
What?
No, perfect. I'm the one using Slack. Can I announce what the next one is? Okay, so we are going... Kylo Ben. We are going to be doing a commentary of The Winter Soldier.
Yes.
It's going to be us three right here. We're going to be doing that. We're shooting it a little later today, and Dennis will let you guys know when we're going to put that up. But that's going to be the next commentary, and then we will start figuring out exactly what the next one will be. I'm thinking maybe we'll put a poll up on Collider, or we even tweet it out of what you guys want to see us do after The Winter Soldier. But yeah, that'll be the next one, and that's coming out pretty soon. All right, that's it. That's the show for today. I would like to thank the panel joining me today. Fellow shit rat, John Schnepp, a.k.a. Mr. English. Where can they find you?
Well, everybody, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at John Schnepp. Good day.
All
Biscuits.
And
Crumpets.
Where can they find you more places than that, can't you?
Oh, you can also find me on Collider Heroes. That was just it's on the YouTubes.
On the YouTubes. All right, and joining me always in my life, it is Mark Ellis.
Well, that's just
Robin
a gross
Hood.
blanket statement, bloke. You can find me at Mark Ellis Live. I'll be in Albany this weekend. That's in New York, not Old York, where Shep and I are from.
That's
it's
right.
in New York. Upcoming dates include Minnesota and Houston, Texas.
I love the way Ellis screams. It's very natural. Crumpets.
We just lost our entire European audience.
Hello, blokes back home.
Oh, come on, you people. Get on the Barbie.
Also, please, Ashley Mova, please tell them where to
You
find you.
guys can find me on Twitch and on Instagram.
right
Ashley
proper.
Mova. Happy Wednesday, guys.
All right. For me, you can find me, Kristian Harloff, on Twitter and Instagram.
He ain't doing the accent, Schnepp.
Dude.
Hey, do it, Christian.
Do you know what I could do to both of you? Do you know I could snap both your necks? You know what I mean?
I'm afraid.
All right, listen. So this is where you can find us. You can find Collider, Jedi Council. Make sure you check us out there. Check out the commentaries. Check out the Schmodown title match going down this Friday. The reigning champion Mark Yodi Riley going up against the liar himself, JTE.
JBX
It
or something
goes
like
down-
that. JLM or something.
It goes down on Friday, so go and check it out. If you haven't watched past matches, go and do that. The playlist is on the channel. Thank you guys once again. Keep your tweets going, keep the emails coming, and we'll see you tomorrow.
God save the Queen.
Harloff Minor.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.